Hi, this is Matt Kelm. Backstory here. I apologize. I waited a little too long to record my speech and ended up getting called into work. Hopefully, or I was hoping that I would get out in time to do this at home, but I didn't. So I am in a pickup cab doing my Visualize It speech. Luckily, I brought everything with me in case this did happen, but we're gonna adapt and overcome, and we're going to do this. So, what I wanted to talk about is when I was growing up, I grew up on 15 acres, kind of in the middle of nowhere, on a gravel road. We were 2 miles from a town of 50 and 6 miles from a town of 200, so very small. I had a younger brother who's 2 years younger than me, and back then it was okay for, my 8-year-old self to be the babysitter for my 6-year-old brother all summer. So it was just us at home, and where we lived, it was our house, and there was one other property on a 1 square mile section. So we were pretty by ourselves, but we spent all our time outside. We had a TV, but at that time we had 3 channels. So we learned everything that we could about everything, and we explored. And I remember, I don't know, I suppose I was 8, my brother was 6, around there, and we were exploring. We were about a half mile from our house. Ended up walking through fields, and back then it wasn't all corn and beans like that particular place is now. It was native prairie, like it had never been plowed. So we're out there exploring. We find all kinds of stuff, and we come across this house, and on its own pretty good sized property, I guess. And inside, we start to walk up to this house, and it looks really old, and it was, and it's just surrounded by trees and taken over. We're looking through, and there's all these old cars that we're just salivating over, just these kids. And we walk up, and there's this house, and obviously it's been there for a long time. Nobody lived there. It's abandoned. There used to be all kinds of those around where I grew up. And we, kids, not really thinking, but we walk into this house, and it's like whoever lived there just got up and left. I mean, everything's covered in dust. The windows are broken out. Obviously it's empty, but it's like somebody just got up and went to work one day, and it never came back. And it was just crazy to me, and I never forgot it. So I've always been kind of just not obsessed, but really interested in abandoned places. And there's a lot of them. There used to be a lot more, and on a smaller scale, there used to be houses all over before farming got really profitable and everything got bulldozed. But that was a common thing where I grew up, where there was houses, and I don't know how many abandoned houses I've been in where you walk in, and I remember there was overalls hanging on the back of a bathroom door that are just dry rotted, and who knows how long they've been there. But it's crazy to me. But there's a lot of these places in the world, and there's some really interesting stuff. So one I wanted to talk about was, everybody knows about the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Nuclear reactor melted down in 1986 in Russia. And right by that, real close to that reactor, there was a town called Pripyat. It's in the Ukraine now, but it was the Soviet Union at the time. And this was a town of 50,000 people. And the nuclear reactor melted down, and in 2 days, 50,000 people were evacuated, never to come back. They say it'll be unsafe there for 24,000 years, so I don't think there's any time soon that people are going to be rehabitating, but it's just insane what's still there. So this is a picture of one place in that city where nature just reclaims everything. It just, nature takes everything back. And like I said, people just got up and left the place. Obviously, the environment is taken back over, but it's just, who would have ever thought that in a world that everybody claims is overcrowded, which obviously there are places it is, but there's places like this, and this is an extreme example. It's radioactive. Nobody can live there. But it's incredible. People just got up and left. The pictures are still on the walls. The food's still on the table. Well, it was. And there's an amusement park there that was scheduled to open actually the next day, before the day after the reactor melted down. Obviously, it never got to. And there's places like this all over the world that are just abandoned, lost, forgotten. Another picture of the city, and this was, I mean, imagine Sioux City. This was just, it was a bustling city one day, and then 2 days later, it's completely empty and has been since. Now, this is the control room of a power plant, and the power plant was built in 1914 when electricity was brand new, amazing, and it actually just shut down, I think, like 15 years ago. But it's how it looks now. Urban explorers have gotten in, and it's privately owned now, but it just sits there like this. These amazing places in the world just sit, and most people don't see them unless you're looking for it, and obviously most of us will never see a place like this, but it's just incredible what's out there. This is the outside of that same power plant, and just gradually nature reclaims what was taken from it, but it's just incredible to me that the architecture. Think of all the people that worked there and spent their lives there and built this place, and then it's abandoned. It'll just go back to how it was before it was ever built. I just think that's incredible. The incredible architecture and the work that went into places like this, and it's just sad that nobody gets to see it. This place it's protected. It'll never be demolished, but it's not maintained. So eventually, it will fall to pieces. And it's the architecture and the equipment that's inside of it is just insane. It looks like a movie set, but it's not. It's real. And people just got up and left. I mean, pictures, a hard hat. Just got up and left. And the glass is all still there. This site is actually protected, so it's been protected from vandalism, and I mean, the environment will take it back, but people won't. Now, this one is more interesting. It was the Soviet Union. It's in Kazakhstan, in the desert, and the building, it may not look that big, but it's monstrous if you look at the scale of things. A guy urban explorer heard a rumor that there was some really interesting things in this warehouse in Kazakhstan, and former Soviet Union site, abandoned in 1993. And when he finally got inside, he found this: space shuttles, Russian copies of American space shuttles. Can you imagine the time and the money that went into this? Every part of these space shuttles are copied from American designs, and it's just amazing to me that this just sits. It's been sitting since 1993. Inside, this is a shot from inside the space shuttle. Not many people ever get inside a space shuttle, and this one is sitting in Kazakhstan in the desert. It's incredible that something that had to cost hundreds of millions of dollars, it just sits there. So there are still things in the world that it may not be undiscovered, but it's forgotten. And these things are out there, and they're gradually disappearing, but they're still there. And hopefully there'll always be stuff like this there for people to see and to learn from, and to not forget, because this kind of stuff it's our history, it's our legacy, it's stuff that shouldn't be forgotten. It should be respected and protected. So like I said, the abandoned things, they fascinate me, and I wanted to kind of enlighten people and show people that these things still do exist. So thanks for watching. Bye.